I came out of the shower and I just saw a lump in my left cleavage and I thought, that's a cyst. And I never checked my breasts. Like most women, I'm a breast surgeon. It's not going to happen to me. I'm invincible. Then I went through to have an ultrasound and I turned to look at the screen and I saw a cancer.
Dr. Liz O'Riordan dedicated 20 years of her life to treating breast cancer patients. But at age 40, she found herself on the other side of the diagnosis.
It was shock. It was like, my mammogram was normal. I'm a breast surgeon. I can't have breast cancer. Oh, okay. And I think, you know too much. I've looked after women younger than me who've died. I knew what treatment I'd need. I had a rough idea whether I'd be alive in 10 years. I have all that information. I had expert hands. I'm a consultant breast surgeon. I've been feeling breasts for 10 years and I didn't realize I had a cancer. There are, depending on how you count them, between 7 and 12 signs of breast cancer. The first thing you do is look in the mirror. So change in the nipple. You can get bleeding from the nipple. So your breast tissue has strands of connective tissue, a bit like string, that go from your chest wall muscles through to the skin. And if there's a cancer in there, what it can do is just tighten those strings. If there's a cancer, it causes a dimple, a very small dimple or dent, and that could be the earliest sign of breast cancer. So it's important to look.
Liz decided to turn to social media to bridge those gaps. She started by showing women exactly how to do a breast exam the right way.
So I think a lot of us learn from videos on social media, and that's fine if you are very small-breasted and you can't hold a pencil underneath. But most women aren't like that. When you examine them, and most videos tell you to do this right, you feel with the flat of your forefingers, you bend at the knuckles and you are squishing your breast tissue against your rib cage, trying to feel a lump underneath. Now, if you've got really small breasts, you can do that standing up in the shower. It doesn't matter. But if you've got breasts that droop, and I hate the word droop, I used to say headed south for winter. If they double over and you feel it standing up, you are actually feeling two thicknesses of breast tissue where it's folded over and gone back. You're going to miss things on the other side. So that's where we say to lie flat, ideally on a bed with a couple of pillows or in the bath. And what that does is lift the breast up onto your chest wall. I had a mixed cancer of ductal tissue and lobular tissue. And ductal tissue was quite smooth and round, and that was actually about 5.5 centimeters. But I also had lobular cancer, which grows in sheets throughout the breast rather than a lump. So it had kind of infiltrated the whole of my breast. It wasn't real, and part of me still thinks I haven't had breast cancer 3 times. And I think it's me protecting myself from what I've seen with patients and my mum. It was like everyone was crying when they gave me the news, and I was like floating, looking down.
Liz stepped away from the operating table to undergo her own chemotherapy, radiation, and a mastectomy. For a surgeon used to fully being in control, becoming a patient was terrifying.
When you are the one signing that form agreeing to have a general anesthetic with the risk of heart and kidney problems and the risk of death, it's serious. And when you are being wheeled down in your paper knickers and your gown and you don't have any hair and you've not got your glasses on, it's scary, that loss of control, what's going to happen. I think my surgeon told me to stop telling her what to do. I wanted to tell her what stitches to use and where to put the drain, and she said, stop it. I realized I know everything there is about how to treat breast cancer, but I have never been a patient before. It was a massive, massive learning curve to realize that the hardest part for patients is when your doctor says, goodbye, I'll see you in a year, and you're left alone to live your life.
Liz says one of the biggest realities doctors rarely discuss is how cancer treatments can strip away a woman's sense of femininity and force her into sudden menopause.
Breast cancer took everything from me. It took my hair, it took my breasts, it took the erogenous zone away, it took my ovaries away, it took my fertility away. I'd never had a child. It took my sex drive away. Most people with breast cancer who have cancers that are sensitive to estrogen, we give you treatments, you don't make any. Now it's overnight rather than the 5-6 years. And it means a drop in your libido, a drop in your sex drive, and penetrative sex can be very, very sore. And I've had women, I told my husband to divorce me. Go and find a woman with 2 boobs who wants to have sex, because I don't. I literally just want a cup of tea. I don't get turned on physically anymore. And that's really hard to explain to someone if you're newly married, you're in a new relationship, you're single and you're dating. No one talks about it. And it's almost going back to dating again, where you just start holding hands and kissing on the sofa. And that's it for tonight. And just finding other ways to be intimate.
Liz's chemotherapy appeared to work, and she opted for a breast reconstruction implant. But her post-surgery pathology report revealed a terrifying hidden truth.
My chemotherapy made my cancer disappear completely. There was nothing left, except there was 13 centimeters hiding. It had spread to my lymph nodes, so I needed radiotherapy. And what that did was start to form a hard capsule around my implant.
The radiation severely damaged Liz's breast reconstruction. But as she prepared for another surgery to remove the painful implant and go flat, she discovered something far worse.
I wasn't prepared, and I was walking around shops crying, thinking, what am I going to wear? How do I cope? And that fear of a stage 4 disease being even more prominent now, that was really, really hard.
The reality of the recurrence forced Liz and her husband, who's also a surgeon, to face the darkest possibilities.
I remember him saying he felt impotent because he couldn't make me better. He had to leave and watch me cope at home alone. And as a doctor, when you can't make someone better, and as someone you love, you can't make them better. We didn't do our wills until my cancer came back the first time. I had to get my husband to admit that I might die before him. We're adults. We are all going to die. We don't talk about it.
Despite aggressive treatment, Liz has faced 2 local recurrences of her breast cancer. She now lives with the constant scanxiety many people know all too well.
This is a couple of years after my first diagnosis, and that scar tissue was a local recurrence. It was 2.5 centimeters of cancer on my chest wall, and that was 2.5 years after being treated. And suddenly I'm going flat because my cancer's come back. I am coming up to 3 years since my second local, my recurrences are local, so I'm technically cancer-free. I'm on treatment for life to try and stop me getting metastatic disease, and that means 2 big needles in each of my bum cheeks every month for life. It's not fun, but at the moment it's doing its thing. I had no idea that depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder were common and could happen years after the diagnosis. And scanxiety, you don't know what that is. That's the awful gut-wrenching feeling that you get when you have a scan coming up, or you've found something and you're awaiting a scan, or you're awaiting the results. And I can't sleep, I feel sick, I can't concentrate, I'm a wreck. I have learned to tell my husband I'm going to be an irritable, moody cow until I get the results, and there's nothing he can say to make me feel better because he doesn't know the answer, so just deal with it and I'll be lovely when I know.
Today, Liz continues to practice what she preaches, managing her cancer while helping thousands upon thousands of others navigating their own diagnoses.
There are moments when it gets me, and I have a small group of friends where I can just be Liz the patient and say, I'm really scared. But it's trying to compartmentalize and say, this is my job, I'm helping people, I'm being Liz the doctor, but knowing when I need to retreat. I think the first thing I say is it's not your fault. Nothing can prepare you for what is going to happen. And there are no rules. All you can do is get through it the only way you can.